Oh, what's up, GameLeaper? It's the Jizz. Now, do you mentally capitulate? Are you worried about what your teammates might say if you screw up? Do you win lane most games but still lose? Well, I'm about to give you the 5 biggest mental tips you could ever wish for, and the reason these are essential to listen to is because 90% of this game is based on what is going on in that head of yours. So if you're thinking about the e-girls in your DMs or what pro guides ad you're going to see on the next GameLeap video, you're not going to win. It's as simple as that. So I'm about to give you the foundation you need for your ranked adventures, and for even more of a foundation, check out Giorgio Armani's website. Oh, wrong foundation, my bad. I meant to say GameLeap.com. Challenger tier courses, guides, and videos are just one click away, so get your own exclusive access and get signed up. Links in the description and comment section. Alright, so let's get into these 5 massive mental tips, and the first one I'm going to give you is one which is going to save you from tilting in every single game you're in. Now, when you play League of Legends, all of us go into a game expecting a certain level of performance from not only ourselves, but also our teammates, and this is the big difference between players in High Challenger and everyone else. You see, most people, when they're in a game and they watch a teammate make a really bad play, lots of people react to this by just tilting. You know, it's like they cannot believe someone made that play, like it's just that bad. But the real reason all of us tilt sometimes from watching a teammate run it down is because we're not expecting it. We're expecting them to pull the play off or to actually do something good, so when they do something bad and really troll, you can't quite believe it. So the tip here, guys, that's going to save you from tilting is to lower your expectations of your teammates. Expect the worst, because then when the worst does happen, you're not going to be surprised, and this goes for any game you're in. If you're down 20,000 gold, if you're up 20,000 gold, if the game is even, expect your teammates to make the worst plays possible, so then you're not surprised, you can stay level-headed yourself, and it's a lot better way to go about it. Rather than expecting them to play like Faker or Doinby or Uzi, expect them to play like Kadeem. Okay, so now you've lowered your expectations, what's next? Well, the next thing I want you guys to do when you get in a game is to have high standards for yourself. So teammates, expect the worst. For yourself, expect the best and demand the best. Now, the reason I think this is so important, I've coached so many people to high elo from diamond, platinum, gold elo, whatever it is, and I see this all the time. It's like they're more interested in what their teammates are doing rather than themselves, and one reason is simply because they don't have high enough standards for themselves. They think that maybe winning lane is enough, maybe being even with the enemy champion is enough, maybe having 50% kill participation is enough. So in their minds, it's like they tick their own play and then focus on anyone else. Now, the reason this is a real big mistake, guys, is simply this. The only time you can ever think of complaining about your teammates or something else in a game is if you didn't play as well as you could have done. And guess what? For everyone on League, even people in High Challenger, even Faker himself, there is going to be always something he can do and everyone else can do in order to win that game. And you never know, that one CS you missed, that time you wasted, that back which was really bad, all of these things make a difference. But 99% of players just give themselves a pass because, oh yeah, they won lane by 5 CS. Big deal. Like, I'm sure you've all heard it before from like the top sports people in the world. They are their biggest critics. And the reason they are critics of themselves is simply because their standards are so high, so nothing else in the game, whether it's their teammates talking a bit of smack in chat, whether it's someone on Twitter having a go at them, none of this affects them because they already know that they kind of screwed up. But it's not just so valuable when you do lose. It's also so valuable when you win. So even if you do play really, really well, there's always something else you can get out of it. And all of a sudden you become like this pedigree horse, you know, when they had the blinkers on at the races. So all you're focused on is yourself and what's in front of you rather than what's in front of your teammates. In other words, the other horses, and no doubt some of these don't have any legs, but you have to believe me, guys, when you have high standards for yourself and you strive to achieve these and maintain these, you are going to perform so much better and be in a much better mental state for when you do actually get in a game. Now, the third mental tip I want to give you guys that is essential to climb to high elo is to be honest with yourself. And this kind of ties into the last tip as well. They overlap, but they are a little different here. And what I mean by being honest with yourself is this. So many people love to blame their rank on something else, right? Like it's just how the game is set up. It's designed to stop you from climbing out of gold, whatever elo you're in. Well, guess what? The reason you're in gold, the reason you're in silver, the reason you're in bronze, the reason you're in grandmaster is because you are at that level of play. And it might sound brutal, but honestly, I should have even put this as the first tip. Just admitting to yourself that you can be better, that there is room for improvement, that you are not the finished product, you are not that polished stone. This could sometimes be all you need to actually improve because you realize there is actual room for improvement there. And let me say this, if you're in platinum or gold or you're not in high challenger and you think you're playing the game perfectly, guess what? You need to go see a doctor. It's as simple as that. So in terms of the big picture, it's important, but it's also important, guys, to be honest with yourselves after your games finish. So when a game finishes, just ask yourself, could you have played better? It might be something really specific, like maybe during a 1v1, or maybe you went for a play that wasn't really there, or maybe you were just really bad at CSing onto your tower throughout the whole game, or maybe you ganked the wrong lane instead of focusing on another lane. This can be a myriad of things, but you're not going to actually spot these things unless, of course, you are actually honest with yourself and open to improvement. Like when you die, your first instinct might be to press tab, see what teammate you can blame, and spam ping them. But deep down, you actually know that in that fight where you just died, you could have done so many things better, but you choose the easy and toxic way out of just spam pinging someone else to divert that blame. So keep the honesty, keep the blame with yourself, guys, and you will improve markedly. Now, something else that I love to tell my students is this next tip, number 4. Wins and losses do not matter. I know that people place so much importance on OPGG, right? Like if you've gotten a massive loss streak, oh my god, it's so bad. If you've gotten a massive win streak, you're the best player in the world. Let me tell you something. The color of that game, whether it's blue for a win, whether it's red for a loss, this pales in comparison in terms of importance to how well you actually played in these games. If you go on Faker's OPGG, if you go on Showmaker's OPGG, guess what? They don't win every game. There are going to be losses in there, maybe even more losses than wins. But guess what? In these losses, they are going to be playing as well, if not sometimes better, than they do in their victories. The reason why is because they're playing consistent League of Legends. And for sure, some games are unwinnable because you have an ending teammate. Someone on the enemy team is just popping off and they end up carrying harder than you. But so many people actually judge their own play on if they won or lost the game. That really doesn't matter in the big picture. What really matters is how you played against your opponent. And this doesn't matter what role you play, by the way. You can be mid lane, you can be jungle, support. If you play better than your opponent and you outplay them, that's the most important thing. And what this also does is it takes the pressure off you. You stop thinking about the LP you're on. Oh my god, you're in promos, I need to win 2 more games. And instead of thinking like that, which yeah, just puts way too much stress on yourself, you start thinking like, all right, in this game, I need to do this, this, and this. You start thinking a lot more about the game you're actually in, rather than what might happen if you lose, what might happen if you lose lane. So you take the pressure off and you actually focus more on playing well and doing as well as you can, rather than worrying about getting to the next division if you win or losing LP if you lose. Like, who cares about that? Just play as well as you can. Now, as we get into the last crucial tip here, guys, that you need to get to high elo, it is the Jizz's last frontier reminder for you guys to check out the GameLeap website, because we have the internet's best League of Legends content, hands down. You know why? Because there's more jizz on there, that's why. So if you want to hear me talking about how to play a champion, how to master a champion, master a role, master the macro, the micro of this game, anything, we have it, I have it. So make sure you check out the website GameLeap.com for everything you will ever need on Summoner's Rift, links down below. Now the 5th tip I want to talk about is the way you actually go about playing League, and even people in higher elos will struggle with this concept because they haven't played League of Legends like this. I want you guys to think about this equation. Selfish League equals winning League. Now selfish League, what does this mean? This means playing for yourself. And the great thing, guys, when you do play selfishly, so all you're caring about is your own golden experience in a game, it's actually good for your team as well. So many people think that if you do play for yourself and you just ignore your team, it's to the detriment of the team. This isn't true. So let me throw an example at you here. Let's say that your team gets aced around Baron and you're off in the side lane. You might get blamed for not being at Baron, but if you're in that side lane, first of all, your teammates already know you're there, so if they start Baron or look to fight, it's kind of troll. But when you're in that side lane, you're getting golden experience. Your team isn't missing golden experience because they have someone in that side lane. And what lots of people do, if a team fight does break out and their team starts losing, they feel some sort of obligation. Oh my god, I got to get some vengeance for my team here and go in and 1v5 and ace the enemy team. It doesn't work like that. So what you really should be doing is just focusing on yourself. If your teammates die, let them die. Try to focus on creating some sort of pressure on the rest of the map in terms of golden experience. For instance, you might be getting a tower or an enemy inhib or 3 enemy minion waves. This is creating pressure elsewhere on the map. So yes, you might lose one area of the map. For sure, it's going to happen. But what your team doesn't actually know is that you're scaling for yourself. You're still getting golden experience. So it's not like all hope is lost. And hopefully when that next team fight does come around, you're there to pop off because you are fighting on your own terms. And this is why Selfish League is so good. So many people will fight when they're sitting on gold for a major item, and they will put way too much faith in their teammates. So instead of playing Selfish League, they're playing Selfless League, and this is just bad. And there are lots of other examples I can give you of this, but yes, if you're sitting on gold for a death cap, let's say, you will tell your teammates to back off that fight or whatever they're doing. Back off, I've got death cap, you ping the gold, you ping death cap because you can actually buy it, and you let your teammates know that information. If they then go and fight, that's their problem. You did everything you can to alert them of the situation, but they went in and they ran it down. But guess what? You didn't. You played towards yourself, you played towards your major item spikes, you played around the golden experience you have, and if your team just listened, maybe you would have won that game. But let me put it this way, guys, you are going to win way more when you're playing around yourself rather than around what your teammates are thinking. And let me just say this as well. What your teammates think is probably going to be a broken version of League. Like if you're playing in lower elo, and I'm even including like Diamond Master, even some Grandmaster games and higher elo games, your teammates' version of League of Legends isn't actually going to be good. So some of the decisions they make, and you might even be included in that decision, they're going to be bad. So think about yourself. Think about, is it good for you if you make this play? If it is, then go for it. If it's not, because you're not going to get golden experience and it's too risky, you might be sitting on gold, etc., then don't do it. Play for yourself and you will see how much more of an impact you will have in your games. So those are the 5 challenger mental tips that I want to give you today, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Let me know down below by leaving a like, and any comments, any questions, like what do you think is the most important mental factor on League? Let me know in the comments, and until tomorrow's video, make sure you hit the sub button as well. This has been the Jizz. Bye.